Alright guys, I freehanded the first side of the arcade machine, and then I cut that one out and placed it on top of the plywood and traced it out. This made sure that both sides of the arcade machine were exactly the same. I then cut this board out and then cut out all the other boards I'd need for this project. If you don't have a jigsaw, I recommend buying one for this project. I used 2x2s as a brace for this project. If I was to do it again, I'd use a metal brace so it's not as heavy at the end. But these 2x2s worked pretty well. And grab this thing. I'm using a 1.5 inch screw. This makes sure that it gives a tight bond in between the 2x2 and the plywood. The plywood should be 3/8 inch thick. After attaching the sides to the back, you can see on the bottom I used a 2x4 in the front and 2x2s on the side. Alright guys, so this is what we just built. It's a little frame to go around the outside of the screen. This will be how it looks from the outside of the what's it called? Arcade machine. So it'll look like this, and that's about, I think it looks good. We got all the plugins on the back, so should work. My original plan was to paint the arcade machine orange with green spots because of an old Nickelodeon arcade machine I had. But once I started taking that apart, I realized that the buttons were soldered straight to the board, so I couldn't relocate the buttons where I wanted on this arcade machine. So then, I decided to paint the arcade machine black and use a program called RetroPie. This program you can download to a board called Raspberry Pi. This allows you to program stuff onto it, and it also works with the arcade machine buttons. Right here, I'm using white spray paint for my logo. I used printer paper and cut out the letters of my channel name, and then tape that up to the arcade machine. This came out with a pretty good end product, but it could have been better if you would have done it freehand. I did the same thing with the designs on the sides. I just cut them out on paper and then I spray painted them. You can also use other pictures than the bullet. You just have to find them online, cut them out, and then tape it up to the arcade machine. I then screwed in all the buttons. I found this arcade piece on Amazon, and it was about $60. The next step was to attach the joystick. I just drew a pilot hole and then screwed it in with a hand screwdriver, and that seemed to work. This is how it looks right now. My next step is to wire all the buttons up. I used version 1, but there's also version 2. Once I got that done, the arcade machine looked like this, and it was ready to play. And that's basically it. So now you have your arcade machine.